Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's Furman Football Weekly with head coach Clay Hendricks. The Paladins are preparing for a homecoming matchup with Western Carolina on Saturday, a 2 o'clock kick. We'll set you up with all of the broadcast information coming up at the end of the press conference. As always, we will ask Coach Hendricks to make an opening statement, and then we'll let the freshly arrived Monty Dutton ask the first question today.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Again, appreciate you guys being here. Certainly disappointed with the outcome of Saturday. Just really disappointed and, how it all kind of played out. I mean, obviously he turned over 5 times, which, as I found out, 2 of them weren't turnovers. But, with 5 turnovers, I think now in our 3 FCS losses, we've had 12 turnovers. You can't win games doing that. 2 of those games, we had every opportunity still to win. So, that's a reflection on me and us, and we look at things we got to do a better job of. I don't know. We got to kind of find our way a little bit. Really lacking identity on offense. They probably putting way too much on our quarterback. Young guy. We are who we are, both youth and all that, and it is what it is. And I think the thing that's disappointing is, and congrats to them, and they played really well. And, it hurts me to have to say they physically got after us. And, for us, something we've taken pride since the time we've come back here is just playing relentless effort and playing with great physicality. And we didn't, we got out physical Saturday, and our effort's been good. I mean, I told coaches I wanted to know who wasn't doing that, and it wasn't bad, but it's got to be better. And, none of this stuff even matters if we don't do those 2 things. And maybe we've harped too much on execution and doing the right thing and not as much on effort and physicality, and that's what we got to get back to doing, and that's going to be our goal this week. And we'll try to find something we can go out there and execute. Got a really, really good team coming in here, really talented again. We're never going to out-talent either of these bunches. It's just not going to happen. I think they've played a really tough schedule. That's probably why their record's not quite as good. Very similar to the Chattanooga group last week. And, and again, hats off Chattanooga, really veteran team. Quarterback who we really got after a year ago. They really did a great job of kind of protecting him with what they were trying to do. When you run the ball efficiently, you got the ability to do that. And, so we got to go back and look at ourselves and regroup, and I think we will. And again, excited to be at home this week against a really good opponent, and that's just we got to figure it out. But with that, any questions you may have?
Times are changing in college, and it's not just with the transfer protocol, but even beyond that, the level of analytics is so high. There's so many things that you study and that you see, and sometimes that people go to and you get away, but everything is a mixture of the tangible and the intangible. And I'm interested in what you learned when you studied the video, but I'm also interested in how the team's taking this. How is the team?
Well, we do a little practice on Sunday. I don't think it was much different most Sundays. They've been pretty good. I thought we had a really good week of practice. One of the things I've said is, somewhere there we're losing the transition from the practice to the game, which, that happens, particularly with a young group. So I think what you do, you got to look back at what you're asking them to do. You ask them to do something. Are we slowing them down by some of the things we're asking them to do on both sides of the ball? Are we not emphasizing the right thing? So that's what we got to look at and see. You just can't, the turnovers are just the things that just kind of kill you, and, I think that's kind of frustrating. And, a couple of balls shouldn't have been thrown where they were thrown, and it goes back to the simple things, basic things we've been taught. But, I learned a long time ago as a coach, you can sit there and say, well, he's not doing what I told him to do. Well, we got to maybe tell him something different, and the old quarterback, man, everybody sees it. And Trey's doing some good stuff. Carson came in and did some good stuff. I think we just got to help them in some ways. Maybe it's scheme. Maybe it's, certainly the playbook maybe needs to shrink. I don't know what it is. We got kind of all options on the table. I thought we showed some things pretty good. I thought we ran the football a little better. We still, the number of carries we're getting, we hadn't had the ball because we keep losing possessions. We haven't been very good on third down on either side of the ball. so you lose possessions. And then you turn it over too, you lose some more possessions, and you don't end up possessing the ball very much. So the opportunities, that you have, you kind of lose. And so again, I think that's kind of where we are as a staff, trying to put our guys in the best position where they can go play fast, and go attack. And that's my one goal this week, is to get our guys, and our guys will respond. I really don't have a question about that, and we got enough guys. I don't think we got any surgery scheduled this week. It was one of those games. It was a tough physical kind of game, so we got our bumps and bruises, and we'll go back there tomorrow. We're off today from practice. We'll come back tomorrow and get a good plan, something our guys can go execute, I think, or play fast. That's what I'm kind of interested, really most interested in. And, we got to get back to attacking on defense and kind of playing the same way on offense.
Coach, you haven't, during your tenure here, Furman hasn't lost by that margin, and not by any margin of any substance for very often. How does the approach the following week go any differently? Yeah. And as we get near the bye week, is it almost, do you reset anything at all as obviously you're preparing for Western Carolina, but trying to take
Well, we've been, 5-0 the other day turnover. I'm not sure we've ever had that either. So, that has something to do with that. And you can't tell me that team's that much better than us. They were Saturday, because they didn't make any mistakes, really very few. Golly, that game probably at the half, to be honest with you, probably should have been a 10-3, 13-7 type game. And then we kind of let it get away from us with some of the turnovers. And so I don't know. And I think I thought as we went on, particularly in the third quarter, even defensively, we kind of let things get away from, I think probably even quit attacking. And then, I don't know, fourth quarter we kind of settled down and played a little better. And at that time, you're trying to get some guys out of the game, particularly defensively, just to try to keep some guys healthy, just because of kind of where we are. I hadn't sensed that. And again, I think they were kind of exactly who I thought they were. They're an old football team, veteran quarterback, knew they'd want to run it at us. And again, we didn't force them to be in a situation where they had to drop back and try to protect him. And then we gave up a couple of explosion plays in the second half, which were big. And then any kind of chance, still not over a ball gets thrown, bounces off the ground, they catch it and runs it back for a touchdown. The guy tells me that it was confirmed. I'm still kind of waiting on the response about that one. And then the other one, he didn't catch, and that's 14 points there. So, and then we just kind of let it get away from us. No, it's just it really it's still got to be more about us. About us is not always going to win games for you, but at least you're going to feel a little better about how you go out there and compete and play and execute.
Coach, you've done it a long time, and have you ever seen a year like this with the injuries that you've had prior to and then beginning, and any kind of update on where you are right this week?
Well, it's been a tough year. I mean, it has been, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. So we're just trying to hang in there and get better. We got young guys. We're trying to balance out that eligibility thing with some of our guys in the 4-game rule, and we've had to try to get creative with it. I think we're about 9 or 10 guys we've actually burned a year on. I don't know if it's quite that many. We're still trying to hold out on some freshmen. I think the last 2 years it was 3 and 2. I think people sometimes think we just rolled through it. Last year, we go to Montana last year. We were playing with our 5th running back, 4th or 5th running back. Tyler wasn't well. So you deal with that every year. I think this year there's just been a few other things that fall in there. But we got good enough players to go compete every week. We really do. And now can we play well enough to win big games and win? We just want to win the next game. So that's kind of where our focus has been. And we can make excuses, and because I think that's really kind of what it is. But it is what it is. Everybody deals with it a little bit. I think Chattanooga. I was looking at them. I think other than maybe the tight end, they lost him early in the year, got him back. They've stayed really healthy, which that's football. And so some years it kind of goes your way. And we thought we had really good depth. And you know, it's probably given us a reason to kind of hang in there just because we felt like we had developed, you know, had some depth. It's just the depth's really, really young guys. And I just got to keep reminding myself, you know, freshman and what you're asking a freshman to do. And he doesn't have the banked reps where he can rely on where he's supposed to be looking, doing the little nuances of the position. I don't know of any freshman that does that, and particularly when you got them. I looked a couple times today, all 5 skilled guys on offense were freshmen in the game at a time. And I think 6 of our front 7 on defense were freshmen there a lot of times in the third quarter, you know. And so, yeah, they just got to continue to grow up, and we got to keep coaching them. And they're responding the right way. But I think we got to look at what we're asking of them, too. I think that's what's got to change a little bit.
Coach, Western Carolina has been very good at passing this year, and we've kind of struggled sometimes in the passing game. What's your thoughts going into this game on Western Carolina's passing game against our defensive?
I don't know. You know, I thought we you think back to the season, and I mean, other than game one, I ain't really worried a whole lot about game one that we played. I think the other times we've done a pretty decent job against that. You know, we got younger and newer at corner. Thought those guys have played. You know, I had a guy playing the other day. First time he's really played very much. I thought he played pretty well. You know, and then we've had a couple games we didn't get off. You know, people hurt us running the football. We didn't force them to throw it a lot. They didn't. You know, they hit a couple of throws on us the other day, but they didn't have to. Wasn't like the passing game. They kind of threw it when they wanted to, and it was play action stuff. So we weren't in a position where we could go get after the passer. So I think the same thing for us has got to continue to hold true. We can't let people run the football consistently against us, and deal with the other part. But right now we're kind of letting them do both, and you know, a whole lot easier to play when you're always kind of ahead of the chains. You know, we never could get them off schedule. So I think we've made progress in that area. You know, this group, you know, again, these were the 2 teams back-to-back with the returning quarterbacks that were really good players. You know, so now we just gotta keep trying to get a little better. And again, I think it still comes back to what are we asking our guys to do, and what are we coaching them up to do, and let's kind of, you know, maybe in 2024 we've lost our focus a little bit with all the other distractions, you know, to get back to do the things that we have to do here to be successful. Because, you know, like I said, Chattanooga's always been more talented than us. I don't know if I've ever played against them. Maybe there was a year, I think that was my 32nd game against Chattanooga. And I would bet you there probably maybe a year or two we might have been more talented than them, but not very many times in the whole time since I've been here. And I probably could say similar things about Western. So that's not what it's about, you know. We've been able to manage the talent gap some years, you know, and again, right now, the talent shortage is not our problem, you know. And again, I think it's stuff we can fix. Can we fix it in a week? I don't know, but we're going to try to at least.
Clay Monty opened up talking about how the landscape of college football has changed, and yet here, development, culture, all of those things that I think go into what college athletics is supposed to be. How will your culture see you through what you're going through this year? For instance, how are the older guys working with the younger guys? And maybe the guys who are injured and out for the year, how are they staying engaged? How does all of that speak to the culture of your program?
I haven't had a problem at all with that. I think that's been good. I think it goes back again to your preparation. I said it again. I thought we had our best week of practice, and when I based on how locked in were we in meetings on the field. You know, that part hadn't changed. You know, the faces changed a little bit because who's in there, who's getting the reps, the scout team groups. But again, we're not the place that's ever going to be able to go out and go fill a bunch of gaps, you know. And I mean, I look at teams every year, and the game Saturday, that guy wasn't there, that guy wasn't there last year, that guy wasn't there last year. You know, and you know, we're never going to be like that. You know, and again, we just gotta trust it. You know, if like I said, just when you start losing bodies, I just don't remember a year where it's changed so much, particularly in 6 games. But, you know, that's still what we're about. You know, we may be sitting here this time next year and that was a good thing. You know, it helped us, and certainly will help us down the road. You know, and again, I try not to dwell on that a whole lot. You know, you got who you got, and we got some good players. We got some really good, talented young guys. We just gotta keep developing them and getting them to grow up. And again, what are we asking them to do? And are we asking them to do stuff that they can do? And maybe it's making even scheme wholesale changes. I don't know. You know, might be a good week to try out some different stuff. I don't know. We you know, got this week, got to buy, you know, after this. So, you know, that's just kind of what our focus is right now.
I watched an old movie Sunday morning, and the guy had amnesia, which happens a lot more in the movies than it ever has in life. But I started thinking about how we have such short memories. One of the reasons that this is the 10-3 seasons that preceded this were heady things leading into. But this season so far has not been too different from 2021, where the finished 6-5, but closed with a flourish after at about this time of that season. You're thinking, oh, this could be a really bad
and
year.
lost some close games then.
Right, and
You know,
so I mean, it's not, nothing is that unfamiliar, and this strikes me. Now that was coming off COVID and the rough COVID spring season, but it's not so all along. I mean, it's not very long ago where you've had this similar situation.
Well, I think this. I told this team this in the summer one day. I went out there and I actually took them both schedules from the last 2 years, and we went game by game. We won a bunch of close games. You know, maybe even against some teams that were supposedly not the better teams on our schedule. You know, we were good at hanging in there, finding ways to win games, and I think maybe it needs to be our approach a little bit more too. You know, we've put our defense in a lot of really bad spots. I think we were playing pretty good defense. We got to do a better job over there, but it's, you know, getting in those games where you know, quit making so many mistakes. You put your defense in bad spots, play defense, use the kicking game. We've been pretty solid in the kicking game, and you know, I think that's maybe how we have to win some games, particularly against some better teams. And, you know, you'd love to go back and replay that one Saturday. And I don't know, maybe you take more of that approach. You know, so again, we're looking at kind of all options. But I think here, that you know, Monty's been around here a long time. I can think of a couple of years way back where you felt like you kind of rolled through a season when you had a really good team. But there's a bunch of our league's kind of like that, you know, and you know, Chattanooga lost a game like that early in the year to Mercer. Then they won a game like that at East Tennessee State. And I think we're going to have a bunch of those kinds of games down the stretch. And I just think we got to figure out a little bit how, you know, we put our guys in the best position to go win those kinds of games. And again, not put our defense in some bad spots. And continue to, can we take better care of the ball and just give stuff that our guys can go play fast and execute.
Coach Evan DiMaggio had about 14 tackles the other day, and I noticed on a bunch of them he's sitting there just really, really trying hard to strip the ball out. Yeah. And I know they've probably been spoiled the past couple of years with turnovers, but yeah, one forced fumble all year. It just seems like, is that just a thing where it's just that much difference in defense? Is it kind of how sometimes the ball bounces? Is it what kind of factors into creating more?
I don't, you know, I think this, I know from an offensive perspective, which I spent most of my time on in my career, I always thought those twitchy people that you play against, those twitchy, you know, they kind of created more turnovers. They put more pressure on an offense. I don't know, maybe over time with as a bit the people have changed, has that affected? I don't know. I think we're still practicing the same way. We're still working the same way. You know, how many balls got ricocheted up in the air the other day? 3? I can think, how did we not get one of those? And, you know, we got guys that were busting their tail to get to it. We couldn't get to them. You know, a couple of them went way up in the air. And it's just, you know, I think you kind of got to make your own breaks. And, yeah, we've had some calls that hadn't gone, you know, weren't the right calls, and they've gone against us. And I don't know, you just got to keep working to try to make your own breaks. And, you know, we'll do a few. So we'll keep plugging around trying to do some things to create some.
Coach, Western Carolina has outscored their opposition 44-14 in the first quarter, and that includes NC State and Montana as well. And been kind of a struggle a little bit for Furman the first quarter. How important is the 60-minute game? How important is it to get off to a good start?
Well, it is. We've talked about that. We hadn't done that very often. Now the other day though, here it was. We talked and we go 3 and out, and then we get a holding call the second play of the game on the perimeter out there. We overcome it, and the next play, we throw a pick. Anyway, I guess I don't know if they scored. That game that it was a touchdown or a field goal, and then come back and just a couple plays later throw another pick. So, I think always getting off to I think anytime you're lacking a little confidence, in your young group, trying to get confidence, that's big. But again, I thought how we started the other day. I think a lot of those games. You talk about the early in the year. It's hard to put much stock in those early games. And I think Chattanooga's a good example. I think Western's a little bit of that example as well, and they can go good or bad. I think for us, it's I don't know. We've kind of been behind the 8 ball from the way we started the year, just trying to build some confidence. But as much as you can start a game well, it certainly helps. We started really fast at William and Mary, and then probably at the end of the day, it was the turnovers and a little bit of the red zone, mishaps. Kind of hurt us. I thought the first red zone series the other day was big. We had a chance to go tie the score up, and we don't execute a couple plays and have to kick a field goal, and that's 7-3. And we're that team that needs to make those plays when we get that opportunity to do it.
Coach, Gavin Hall, looked like he had a couple pretty good plays for you. It seems to be his trajectory is on the way up. Comment on his impact and what he brings to the table. Looks like he's a well-built, talented young man.
Well, I even said the run game. Part of it was a reevaluating maybe what I thought was success in the run game this year. And it's been a little different because we're a different team from a year ago. A little bit with a quarterback skill set. Has that changed? Maybe how we were getting him the ball. Obviously, he had a really good day. I think he's averaging 5 yards a carry for the year. I think after 6 games, numbers don't lie. He and Mayan probably have been the most productive guys. And you try to keep it in context about who's had opportunities, true opportunities in certain situations. But he certainly, anybody watching the game could tell he's got a little different gear. And now he's a true freshman. He's 6 games in. He's playing on a lot of special teams. He made a big kick return. He came up there and they were giving us the kicks all over the place. And we kind of made that little change as the game went and plugged him in there, and he went up there and called it. And, I think we'll continue to kind of use him in that regard. So I don't know. I said this the other day, at halftime the other day, I felt a lot better than I did the week before at halftime from an offensive perspective. It was just I thought we were doing some pretty good things, but it's just the turnovers, the turnovers just kept killing us, and trying to, really kills kind of your rhythm. But now, again, that's another one of those things, looking at all options. We did some two-back stuff, a little more two-back stuff the other day. But again, I think you're trying to get your playmakers the ball and again, allowing them to play fast. And, he certainly has some ability to help us.
All of the attention on Western Carolina seemingly goes to their offense. That's Kerwin Bell's background. What do you see from them on the other side of the ball?
Well, they made a change at defense coordinator, and you could see they're better over there. I think I think you can watch the way they play. I think they're playing harder. They've got talent. They've got talent, but no, they're certainly better on defense. There's no question about that. And and really right now they give you they give you some unique looks, which creates some issues offensively, so you got to be sound in what you're doing. Maybe it creates some opportunities, but they can give you some odd looks. But again, got good players. They're playing hard. Really 2 good conference wins, 2 tough games back to back. I guess Western and Citadel, where they've given up some yards, but they've done a pretty good job keeping people out of the end zone, which is the name of the game. So and I'm sure they'll be excited to come down here and play. Obviously, games we've had with them have always been, it seems like So it is every year with them, going back a long time. So, and they're certainly very, very capable offensively. Quarterback's playing really well, and we'll certainly have our hands full this weekend.
I think that's it from the assembled media. So just a final thought before we wrap it up.
No, just it's excited to get back to it. We came in yesterday. I thought I had a good day, and today our players are off. The fall break that has continued both today and Tuesday, so our guys have a little more time. And we just need to go have a great week of practice and again, put our guys in a position that gives them the best chance to go execute what we want to get done. And, that's kind of going to be our focus of the week. And we'll see what we come up with, going forward. But our kids, you mentioned Evan DiMaggio, man, what a warrior that kid is, played in great football for us and been a great leader. Leadership's been good, and, we're just going to continue to push through and try to go get a big win this weekend.
Well, this weekend, the kickoff is at 2 p.m. here at Paladin Stadium. It's homecoming and another opportunity to fill the den bin for Hurricane Helene relief for the folks in Western North Carolina. So kind of appropriate that it's Western Carolina going to be here. And I just want to say that from a broadcast standpoint, we're going to be happy to see the guy in the other shade of purple in the booth, Gary Ayers, who was back at it after a near-fatal heart attack just a little over 2 months ago. So it's good to have him coming back and good to see him. The kickoff, again, 2 o'clock. You can catch it on ESPN+. The radio broadcast begins with a Pepsi countdown to kickoff at 12:30 on the Fan Upstate, 97.7 FM in Greenville, 97.1 in Spartanburg, and everywhere at Odyssey.com. Thank you to head coach Clay Hendricks and to everyone who has gathered here. That'll wrap it up for today. I'm Dan Scott, as always. God bless you, and so long, everybody.